Coilib for my business has really been a point of growth because I've seen my business move from one point to another. And you know, with Coilib, you get to understand the business aspect of it and how to make money.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
I want to recommend very highly Coilib to every youth out there who has an idea that they want to bring on board. This is a place where you'll be incubated, so to say. You, irrespective of how rugged you feel your idea is, you come to this place and we will continuously work on you to make sure that the idea that you have is refined and at least you become the person.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
I can describe Coilib as a hub of fast knowledge, a place where we can find resources and a place where we can find mentorship. I can recommend this to the young youth who are upcoming to gain skills and entrepreneurial knowledge.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
Basically, Jamor Collection is a fashion design shop where we design and tailor clothes. Most of our items are made to measure, where you come, you get measured and you get your item. We do measure in both gender and across all ages. My name is Jenorina from Jamor Collection. Basically, Jamor Collection is a fashion design shop where we design and tailor clothes. Most of our items are made to measure, where you come, you get measured and you get your item. We do measure in both gender and across all ages. My stay in Colib has been very beneficial because I've learned to understand business in a different way and see it from a different perspective. Basically, I've learned how to do marketing and how to stand out as a brand. I'm looking forward to doing more after the incubation period because I'm planning to build a bigger brand whereby we'll be doing our own designs, which are already made for the market. We look forward to taking over the Nakuru market in terms of fashion.
And pass it on to Jane.
Hi, Jane has a ball.
Jane has a ball.
My parting shot, I'd say let's all embrace African wear. Thank you.
My name is Malanda from Egerton University. Welcome to Agri Future series. These are series that encompasses animal productivity and crop productivity in the aspects that they entail to give information in technical expertise, information in the experimental expertise, and information that is wholesome so that it can empower the youth to be able to be active change makers in the transformational change that we need in this country for the sake of elevating the state of the food security in the nation. We are aware that youths in this nation comprises of a big group of people that require to be transformed, require to be changed in terms of their mindset, in terms of their practices, and in terms of their activities in the farm. So the series are going to empower the youths from the farm to fork in terms of animal productivity and crop. In the form of animal productivity is going to engage aspects such like animal selection, animal breeding, animal culling, and other practices that are very much important, like herd health, which are very much important for the output of the whole farm setup. For the sake of the crop productivity, the series are going to empower the youth in terms of how do they plant their vegetables or how do they plant their crops so that they can be able to have a high yield. But again, we are not leaving out aspects of value addition, because value addition is a very integral part in terms of the whole value chain of the productivity. It should be realized that you can be able to produce a crop and then from that crop gain something into it as a value added input and then yield much more of the income or the output from the value addition product that you are producing. So even as we are starting this series, Keep in touch with us. Do not go away as we are introducing this Agri-Future series for the empowerment of the youth to be a transformational change and bridge the gap that is realized in the food security of this country. So I welcome you once more and thank you.
Koilib Breakfast brought to you by Koilib Incuba.
Hapo tuko vizuri sana, tukaparo motorbikes pia ako FA Nakuru hapa tu. Nasema ako free area Nakuru bana. Ushaenda free area wewe? Nishaendaga free area bwana. Nishaenda free area siku moja, nilikuwa niko town alafu nikaona sio mbaya kabisa bana niingie FA kidogo nitafute msosi nini haraka sana sababu tuko live na maisha unacheki. Nikaingia FA haraka sana. Kuna mamangu fulani ambaye I don't know venye free area iko saizi, but kuna supermarket fulani ambayo ilikuwaga iko mahali fulani. I don't know, sikumbuki jina lakini iko FA kabisa. Alafu hapo kuna kisoko. East side watu wanatengeneza manguo, viatu, whatever. Alafu east side nyingine pia kuna mahoteli ambazo ziko hapo kati. Then the other side kuna kiopening ambao watu wanaweza piga unaweza park gari yako kama uko nayo ama pikipiki ama whatever. So mimi nikaingia kwa one of those hotels ambazo ziko pale. Kwa nataka nipige msosi haraka sana nirudi site kabisa bana, you know what I'm saying.
My name is Jenorina from Jamor Collection. Basically, Jamor Collection is a fashion design shop where we design and tailor clothes. Most of our items are made to measure, where you come, you get measured and you get your item. We do measure in both gender and across all ages. My stay in Koilib has been very beneficial because I've learned to understand business in a different way and see it from a different perspective. Basically, I've learned how to do marketing and how to stand out as a brand. I'm looking forward to doing more after the incubation period because I'm planning to build a bigger brand whereby we'll be doing our own designs which are ready made for the market. We look forward to taking over the Nakuru market in terms of fashion.
And passes it on to Jane.
Hi, Jane has a ball. Jane has a ball. My parting shot, I'd say let's all embrace African wear. Thank you.
We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi. We are the Empowered Youth.
On air, underground. And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast. Let the speakers move. Go.
My name is Jenorina from Jamor Collection. Basically, Jamor Collection is a fashion design shop where we design and tailor clothes. Most of our items are made to measure, where you come, you get measured and you get your item. We do measure in both gender and all across all ages. My stay in Colib has been very beneficial because I've learned to understand business in a different way and see it from a different perspective. Basically, I've learned how to do marketing and how to stand out as a brand. I'm looking forward to doing more after the incubation period because I'm planning to build a bigger brand whereby we'll be doing our own designs, which are already made for the market. We look forward to taking over the Nakuru market in terms of fashion.
And passes it on to Jane.
Hi, Jane has a ball. Jane has a ball. My parting shot, I'd say let's all embrace African wear. Thank you.
we win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi. We are the empowered youth.
On air, underground.
And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Turn it up, let the speakers move. Go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Justin Mwanyi, a graduate from Egerton University, a founder and a co-founder of the Kenya Climate Youth Corps, and another group by the name the Global Climate Innovators. Our core objective is to nurture young climate innovators within our campuses and universities. For today, we're running a challenge by the name Campus Agritech Climate Innovation Challenge, whereby we are targeting at least 50 quality innovations by the end of the session that will take 1 month. Each session will take 1 week per faculty, and today we are starting from the Faculty of Environment and Resources Development as the main people who will start our challenge. So with me are my fellow panelists who we chose at least to represent us because they are innovators from the various fields under climate and agriculture. So we want to see that they understand the connection with, between agriculture and climate change. And then from there, we are going to nurture another team who are our audience, maybe who have interest and maybe have some ideas which are not well developed, so that we can move on correctly. So from here, I could like to introduce my fellow panelists. so that we can continue with the rest of the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Otieno, and I'm here to share the ideas concerning climate change and agriculture-related issues. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Okwero Achenyi Lilian, a stroke 23, doing Bachelor of Science in Geography. I'm also here to innovate the new ideas that can help us on how we can maintain the issues on climate change and how we can ensure sustainability. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I am Chiguli Mildred, a stroke 23, doing Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science. I'm here to share my ideas in the innovation concerning climate change and how we can come up with good ideas to mitigate the so-called climate change.
Hello, my name is Helen Amunga, and I'm stroke 25, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, thank you for the brief introduction. Our theme for the day is cultivating change, student-led agri-tech innovations for climate resilient future. We are trying to build a resilient future whereby our youths and the motion into innovations is the key agenda. So as we move on, I would like to present a brief background to whatever we are doing. The Climate Agri-Tech Innovation Challenge started as an idea back then last year, whereby we were starting to engage the students because mainly we were engaging other members outside the school curriculum, whereby we noticed that the students mostly have the knowledge, have the power, have the capacity, and the tools that will help us achieve our goal, which was nurturing young innovations under climate action. We moved around the country, we moved into some other universities, whereby we got that this idea could not move well if we not start from our own university, that is Egerton University. And as a graduate from the Faculty of Environment and Resources Development, I as well wanted to put my faculty in the forefront of this. So that's why we started by choosing the Faculty of Environment and Resources Development. We ran a call whereby about 120 students submitted their ideas and innovations. From the 120, now we narrowed down to only the 4 top innovations, which really sparked our attention, and then we wanted them to present to the rest as well, so that they can learn and at least do the same. So from here, we're moving into the next session, whereby we are going to have a panel discussion, starting with the understanding. Do we really understand the connection within the climate change and agriculture? That's our first question. The second question is about creativity and specificity, whereby we're trying to look into these innovations. Do they really capture a real problem that is specific, or they are too wide and too spread apart? Number 3 is about community centered and engagement. We are going to see if these innovations are centered in the community, and do they really engage the community fully. Number 3 is about sustainability. How sustainable are they? And then number 4 is about scalability. Can we scale these projects from the grassroots, from this discussion, and then maybe to the world at large? And lastly, we are going to look into teamwork. is everybody working as a single entity, or how is it? So my panelists, we're going to start this conversation. As well, the audience, I welcome you. Maybe as they're going to address their ideas briefly, you may be noting down some questions, and later on you shall ask them, and then we move on to the next session. So we're going to start from the far right. Coming here, you introduce yourself afresh, your idea, the problem it solves, how it's linked to climate change and agriculture, and then the rest will follow. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Once again, my name is David Otieno. I'm a stroke 23 student at Egerton University. So my idea is about the digital protection of wetlands. As you know, wetlands play a key role in combating climate change, as they are the site for carbon sequestration, temperature regulation, flood control, biodiversity maintenance, and all that. And climate change, from my understanding, is the long-term alteration of the weather patterns and weather conditions on the earth that affect the normalcy of how the atmosphere behaves. And agriculture is the art of cultivating land to produce crops, and also rearing of cattle and livestock and those. So you find that climate change is related to agriculture in a way that when there is alteration of weather patterns, you find that seasons also will have to change. Like maybe people used to be, by January or February, they are plowing their land, March they are planting, weeding, but if that changes because the rain patterns have changed, you find they'll also have to adjust to that particular pattern. And most of this climate change is caused by human activity. Yes.
Okay. You have not explained deeply into your innovation.
Okay, my innovation is to first use the skill in GIS and remote sensing to map these wetlands so as to monitor them and protect them. Because as you know, currently, there is no law in the government that protect these wetlands. So they're just encroached by human beings without control, and very soon we'll have no wetlands. And this means that we'll lose biodiversity, which ensures the balance of the environment. We'll also will increase the carbon rate in the atmosphere, because wetlands provide carbon sequestration sites. And also flood-prone areas will have the flood will be impactful to them, because you know wetlands, they absorb more water, so that they reduce the impact of floods into the lowland areas. Therefore, crops get destroyed, animals die, people lose property, and so on. So we really need to protect these areas because they are very much key. So with the technology in GIS and remote sensing, we can monitor these areas and protect them as they are supposed to be.
So you are going to utilize GIS and maybe remote sensing,
yes,
to monitor the wetlands and the carbon sequestered and everything else.
Yes.
Is your idea site specific, or it's scattered around the country?
For the short term, I would like to start with a specific area, so that we first implement it and see how effective it is. Then after implementing it and rectify, we can then scale up to national or even global. Yes.
Okay, is it an idea, or is it well developed into a proposal, or you have already done a pilot study?
Okay, right now it's an idea that I have. Yeah, I've not.
Is it sustainable?
It is very sustainable in that if we have these wetlands protected, that means first we'll have played a role in mitigating climate change, which is a long-term thing, because you can't like protect a wetland today and tomorrow you go and destroy everything. So it's something that it's there to stay.
Okay, that's enough from our panelists, number one. We move on to panelist number two.
Okay, hello. Once again, my name is Okwera Achenyi Lilian, and I would like to share my innovative idea on issues of climate change and agriculture. As we know all, that climate change, as a result, when climate changes, it will also lead to changes in agriculture. And changes in weather patterns can affect agriculture. Either it can have a short-term effect or long-term effect. And my main concern was how we can apply the innovative ideas on forest. So under forest, I looked for many ideas that we can use to ensure sustainability in forestry, so that it can help to mitigate the issues on climate change. And my mainly concern was the issues of agroforestry. As we all know that forest is a major driver, and we all know that it is the source of rain. And also, forest act as a source of carbon sequestration, whereby if we have an area that has so many trees, it helps to reduce the issues of carbon dioxide or CO2 gases. This will help to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So when I was talking about the issues of agroforestry, it is our major concern that we should include agroforestry, whereby we should ensure that as we plant trees, and also we should ensure that plants are there. My next concern was about, when I look about the Egerton University, here is like a local scale. Yeah. We need to involve the local communities. My mainly concern was that when we are talking about the issues of forestry and how we can ensure sustainability on it, are we still involving the people around Egerton University? And also my mainly concern was about, are we sharing with the local communities on the importance of maintaining forestry? And also, my mainly concern was, are we the role models to maintaining the forestry? Yeah, because you can say, yes, I want to conserve this forest. But you are the same person, the local communities observing you cutting down the trees. And you are going outside there, encouraging people that we should plant trees to ensure sustainability. And as we all know that local communities are the first people to face challenges concerning the environment. So involving the local communities, especially around Egerton, it will help us to come up with the innovative ideas and more ideas on how we can overcome these challenges of climate change. And also, I came up with the idea of circular agriculture. Some of us, we have forget about the earlier ways of which traditional method we used to conserve the agriculture. We have used modern technology. We have used inorganic fertilizers, of which is going to affect us. As we all know that inorganic fertilizers have major effect on the soil. We all know that earlier on we used to have things like rotational grazing.
whereby someone could move from here after this land is, after he or she is done with this land, he could move to the other place, allowing this land to regenerate. But as we are doing continuous process of which we are not allowing this land to regenerate again. And the issues about organic fertilizers. Where are those remains of we get from livestock? Where are those remains that we get from maize production? Where are those remains that we get from animals? Where are we taking them? So when we avoid those inorganic fertilizers and decide to use the organic fertilizer, it will enable us to ensure sustainability. As we all know that we are moving from one generation to another. My question is, if we are continuing to use inorganic fertilizer, what about the next coming generation? Should they continue practicing agriculture? And also, I also look about the issues on ways on how we are, especially when there is a drought. Are we using the integration method on the integration methods? Some of us, we are not using the correct technology that can enable us to minimize the use of water. We all know that water is the source of life, and we all need water in everything. So as we apply the irrigation process, we should use at least the correct method that we can use to minimize the use of water. And also, about forestry, I also look about the issues of crop farming. Rotational cropping, if I'm not wrong. That one will enable us to conserve the issues on soil erosion. Because if we are not covering our soil with those plants, the soil during the rain, the heavy rains, it will carry away the soil. And that will lead to many types of soil erosion, and it will lead even to the leaching of soil. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, before we move on, you've talked about circular agriculture, agroforestry, organic fertilizer, farm waste management, community sensitization, integration methods, water management, and lastly, soil erosion. So maybe can you make your idea to be clear? Are you working on all these things, or you are working on a specific thing?
My suggestion was if we can innovate all of them and apply through.
As an innovator, what's your main idea on this? What's your pick?
Okay. My main pick was on circular agriculture.
Yes, now can you explain on circular agriculture?
So when you talk about the issues on circular agriculture means wasting nothing. For example, we can talk about the animal waste. And also we can talk about those remains that we get from maize after harvesting maize. And also the chicken refuse also. So I was talking, when we talk about circular agriculture, we are talking about on how we can conserve all those remains that we are getting in order to ensure sustainability. And I was suggesting if we can make around Egerton University that instead of using inorganic fertilizer, we can make our own organic fertilizer, whereby we can collect those remains from grass, maize stalk, animal waste, and ashes, so that we can make our own fertilizer instead of depending on those fertilizer that has effect on our soil. I think that was the main concern.
Okay, is it an idea or a proposal or at pilot stage?
It's an idea.
Okay. So how is this idea community-centered?
How is it community-centered? Community-centered.
Yes. How do you involve the community in your idea?
Okay. If I can explain on that, as we all know that around Egerton, we have our own livestock that we are keeping, and also we have our own farm that we are using. We are planting maize. We can involve those people, we can engage them so that in the time they are harvesting like maize stalks, they can give us those things, and also we can explain the importance of not wasting those maize stalks.
Okay, when we talk about farm waste management, there are so many people around doing it. So what's unique about your idea?
Okay. My mainly concern about farm waste management is that it will help us, at least we will be conserving the soil and reducing the issues on soil erosion.
Okay, we should move on to the next panelist.
Once again, thank you so much. My name is Chigwili Mildred. Thank you very much. I'm Chigwili Mildred, a student at Egerton University, stroke 23, taking environmental science as a course. And my innovative idea is majorly, we all know that agriculture and climate change are interconnected, because climate change being the main problem that the world is facing currently, it is vivid that agriculture is also affected in the process. So we all know the things that contribute to climate change. CO2 gas is one of them. So I majored on carbon dioxide gas in my innovative idea. I was to look at the natural carbon sequestration, like the natural carbon cycling. This is the process whereby carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is captured and stored in the natural systems such as the oceans, the forest, and maybe the soil. I majored on two, the oceans and the soils. In the soils, what I looked at was to just revert back a little bit to those other forms that we are using for farming, like the cover cropping, because cover crops really help in absorbing the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and storing it in the soil, reducing the level of it in the atmosphere, thus mitigating climate change. And in the oceans, I was targeting the so-called mangrove and the phytoplanktons. Those are the plants that grow there, which absorb CO2, and when they rot, they go to the base of the ocean, and at least they go with the CO2 there. So reducing the amount of CO2 in the ocean environment. That will really help in improving climate and mitigating the climate change. Another thing I looked at was that we should plant deep-rooted crops to ensure that let's say plants like cassava, which were planted back then, and as time is continuing to move, people are reverting from them and are selecting other plants, maybe because they are fast growing and that. So I was suggesting if we can go back to planting those crops in plenty, they will really help in absorbing the atmospheric CO2 gas and storing them in the biomass, whereby it will be maybe harvested in future and maybe taken by we people.
Okay.
Sorry. And how this innovation of mine is maybe interlinked with the society also. Egerton University is playing a major role in doing this, because if it is just recent when we people, as the Egerton University Environmental Association Club, went to the coastal region to plant mangrove and regenerate it. So we are really playing a bigger role in that. That is how my innovation is meant to interlink with the society.
You talk of microbial carbon farming, and then you mention the terrestrial area and the marine area. Are you specifically measuring in one directly and leaving behind the other, or are you doing them as a single entity?
It is a single entity because the two go hand in hand. There is nothing that differentiates them that much.
Okay, as we are seated here, we are in the inland terrestrial land. How do you manage to take your project to the coastal areas whereby you do the mangrove restoration, whereby you mentioned you did an activity? How do you manage to be in the coastal areas and then coming inland?
As a startup idea, maybe, yes, you can say we measure on one side, maybe terrestrial, because this issue of cover cropping and everything is all over now, as you know. But at least we are doing something on the coastal areas too.
Where is your most energy used?
Terrestrial.
Okay, we go with the terrestrial area and you leave the rest behind. Is this project of yours community centered?
Yes, it is community centered because everyone is involved. Because farming is something that is all over. Farming, everyone is doing farming. And I see in Nakuru, for example, people, not everyone, but most of the people are doing it. Like you can see the way they intercrop, and you can maybe find cover crops somewhere. So this idea was just to improve on them.
From your experience, it seems this idea is practical somewhere else. Is it sustainable?
It is very sustainable.
Is it scalable? At what extent is it running at now?
On a scale of 10, I can rate it as at 5. So it's halfway.
And what do you intend to achieve at the end of this carbon farming?
Obviously, it's supposed to be 100%.
100% of?
100% of the scale that I gave you.
Okay, maybe I repeat the question. What do you intend to achieve by the carbon farming?
Okay, what we intend to achieve by the carbon farming. This will play a very major role in mitigating climate change, because I talked about cover cropping and the microbial farming. It will really help in absorbing the atmospheric carbon dioxide and maybe storing it in the soil to just reduce its level in the atmosphere.
Could you measure the carbon stored in the soil using your cover crops? What criteria are you using to at least estimate and say maybe 10% of the carbon within Nakuru has been stored in the soil?
That will be measured with the amount of the cover crops that you see. The higher the number, the more the...
We understand that the carbon sequestration varies per plant, per crop, maybe per tree. So that's why I'm asking this question. Are you able to measure the amount of carbon you've harvested from the atmosphere?
This idea is not yet there, but we will be able to do it in future.
Okay, thank you for your time. Move on to the next presenter.
Hello. Hello. My name is Helen Amunga, and I thought of an idea. I saw the question about a few days ago, and it was more about climate change and agriculture, and I thought of something that can look at the two issues together. So I thought of an app called the Mkulima app. That's my innovation. An app that is able to see the problems that the farmers are facing. What are the farmers facing? What makes them not to be able to sell? What makes them not to have high yields? What makes farmers to have high yields at the same time? So Mkulima app, when I thought of it, I started searching about all the problems that farmers are facing in Kenya, in Africa, in the world at large. One of the problems was unpredictable climate changes. Farmers don't know when to plant something that they want to plant. They plant maize and it's not raining. They expect it to rain in July, it's not raining in July. So they don't know when they should plant the maize. If they plant it, they'll just have lower yields. There's also a problem in the farmers having high yields at the same time, but they don't know where to sell what they've harvested. That's post-harvest losses. They have harvested, but they don't know where to sell it. There's another problem where some rural farmers, they don't know what is happening in the world at large. They don't know what to do. They're just planting because they can plant, but they don't know the new modern technique that people are using. So Mkulima app is an app I thought of that has features that look at these problems. Features like community-centered platforms. They can talk. Different farmers can engage and talk and know what to do. It can also help farmers to market their goods. For example, I have maize, she has beans, but we don't know where to sell. We've harvested. We don't know where to sell our things. So Mkulima app can have such a feature where the farmer can have accessibility to the buyers. I also thought of how to teach other people new agricultural techniques, how to make them have sustainable agriculture practices. So the app can also have easy tutorial where the farmer can be able to come, log in the app. They can be taught how you can do this and do this, what other farmers are doing, don't do this and do this. So yeah, that's what I thought of when I was thinking, yeah, those are the problems. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We normally have the farmers' calendar, a yearly calendar for the farmers from the Kenya Meteorological Department, which mostly highlights the seasons, the variations of the rain and drought, their intensity and the specific areas where it's going to rain, the amount in millimeters, and everything else. So are you going to duplicate what some other entities are doing in your app? Okay, I'm asking, we normally have other entities disseminating farmers with the data on rainfall and drought in terms of millimeters, the specific areas where this rain is going to rain, and the periods and the specific months. That's why we see on the onset of the long rains, we usually have news around the country. So are you going to duplicate whatever these other entities are doing in your app?
In my app, I'm not trying to do what others are doing. I'm just trying to put a combination of ideas in the app. It will have, yes, where farmers can know about the changes. Yes, it's being provided by Kenya, it's being provided by the government, but it's not like it's reaching all the farmers. I know you'll say the app is technological based, the farmers in rural areas might not reach it, but I'm not trying to implement I'm not trying to what should I say? I'm not trying to copy what to say that the government is doing this, so I shouldn't do this. The government is solving the climate changes, so I shouldn't try to do it. The app can have the climate change, so the farmer is getting everything in one thing. The farmer can know monthly seasonal changes. The farmer can also find market. The farmer can have high yields because they're learning new agricultural things. That's also increasing technology in rural areas. It's empowering, it's encouraging the farmer. The farmer can plant and he or she is sure that they'll get higher yields because they have practiced some nice agricultural techniques.
Okay, it's a good idea. You're not trying to exist on your own, so you're borrowing someone else's data into your platform. So the issue of connectivity and reaching to the lowest farmer, how practical is it? Because mainly a farmer who is a serious farmer may not have the time to go into his or her gadget to look into such data. How do you address that?
So when I thought of that question, and I felt like when someone logs in the account, you usually put your number, you put your email, you put your credentials in an app that you sign into. So for example, I'm a farmer, I haven't been touching my phone, I don't know how, I don't have bundles, I don't have the connectivity to the internet. So I thought of maybe the app can get the contact from the farmer through the credentials that they give. And after every month, they're able to send you a message so that you can know which season is coming, what you should plant, when you can plant. And it informs you when you can do anything before you do it. So it sends you a message. You can't tell me if you're a farmer, you don't check your phone at all, you won't even check your messages. Yeah.
So are you aware about the data protection policies in Kenya, whereby you cannot just go and harvest the farmer's data and put it in your system without the right papers?
The farmer gives us the credentials. The farmer gives us their number, their email. And in many apps, when you're logging in or when you're signing up to enter into the app, they'll ask you a question where you can tick if you want your data to be shared, if your data can be accessed. So you can put such an option in the app where when someone is giving out their credentials, they can tick if they want us to get their data, or they can leave the space blank if they don't want us to get their data.
Okay, and that also, are you aware that the KALO, Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, have their own database of farmers? So why are you going to duplicate this thing instead of going to and partner with them? Because they're a non-organization, an accredited one, a trusted entity, whereby if they disseminate that data to the farmers, it may be taken seriously because it's directly from the government, other than from a third-party engagement.
Before the app becomes an app, of course you'll have to look for partnerships. You'll have to look for people to help you. You'll need, I just looked for an idea. I don't have I don't even do a technological course. I know nothing about technology. But before you start something, you have to look for partnerships. You have to look for NGOs. You have to look for things that can help you make the app. How will I get the climate data? How will I know kesho kunanyesha or something like that? You'll have to partner with Kenya Meteorological Services. You'll have to partner with all those agricultural centers so that you can have everything. So if it becomes something that you say it will become that the agricultural centers have the data of the farmers, if they know the app is there, how will it be a problem? And if they are partnering with the app.
Okay, we move on to information dissemination. We usually say that local farmers are ignorant and they use their own beliefs to guide their farming activities. So how are we going to challenge this problem of ignorance in our local farmers?
If in the app I spoke about it having a community-centered platform where a farmer can talk to another, where we can all communicate and share our ideas. If you're communicating, if you tell me, don't do this, do this. I did this and it gave me this. Why will I be ignorant? I planted crops using this method and I had a high yield. I sold all my yield. I did this, I sold all the crops. Why will I be ignorant when I know it helped someone else?
Farmers are mostly principal in the local setup, whereby they usually tell you, I've been doing this for so many years. So in one way or the other, there is no way you are going to bring in a new idea, and maybe it may take time. Are you patient enough to incorporate that idea into this ignorant farmer?
If the farmer wants something that knows what they want, I'm not talking to one farmer, it's like a WhatsApp group. You're all communicating. If this one says something wrong, of course we'll all fault him. We won't start saying, oh, yako ni mbaya. We won't say that. We'll try incorporating each other's ideas and stand on one idea. And each farmer is able to communicate with another. So if one becomes ignorant, that's their problem. If the others start following what the other did, that means it's growing agriculture, it's growing the farming sector, it's growing the economy. So it's not about that ignorant farmer who doesn't want to listen. It's about how many are you trying to help? Are you helping a large scale, or is it only one who is trying to disadvantage? At the end of the day, after some time, they'll start knowing that, oh, ilisaidia huyu. So many people are already being helped with that idea. That means that farmer will start incorporating the same idea in his farming. Yeah.
So talking about data and information, what are your key areas of harnessing this data? What are your data sources? And then do you have anything to do about harnessing indigenous knowledge? Harnessing indigenous knowledge.
Where I'm going to get the data of the farmers. I'm not understanding.
Yes, what are your data sources?
When the farmer is signing up, when you're signing up for an app, when you are signing up for a scholarship, when you're signing up for, when you're trying to join something in your phone, what the first thing you do? You state your name. They tell you, they ask you the country you're from, they ask you your mobile number, your email, and then after that they usually ask you, do you want this? Can we access your email after this? Can we send you newsletters? Can we send you a verification code to your number? They usually ask you in every app. So in my app, the sources of data that I thought of, how to get the data for each farmer, how to be able to write and have the data of each farmer in a database is through the application process. When they're signing up on the app, you get their number, you get their email, so you can able to send them different updates, just in case the app is having an update. If there's something changing in the agricultural sector, you can address it in the app, you can send it in their email. If there's seasonal changes, you can send it in their mobile number, in their email. Just in case they're not online, you can send it in their mobile number. Yes.
Okay, you have answered one side of the question, sourcing the data about the farmer, but now, what's your source of the data that you are going to disseminate to the farmer? In short, the farming information, how they are going to farm, using your new ideas. Maybe there are some developments elsewhere you want them to adopt. So what are the sources of these new developments?
Through different partnerships in agricultural, people who know agriculture. If you partner in an agricultural center, people like the NGOs in agriculture, like the one you said, yeah, agriculture, Kenya Meteorological Center, they know the climate, these apps, that these people who know things about agriculture, if they partner with the app, that means the app will be able to have up-to-date information. They'll know what is happening, what is going on, and through partnerships, you'll get the information. Yes.
Do you have any criteria to verify this data you are going to harness from these different partners?
No.
Okay, we move on to the next question about connectivity of the farmers and the markets. I'm from a farming location, whereby we have the main challenge of marketing comes down to the transportation costs. Sourcing cabbages from Molo and taking them to maybe Mombasa becomes very expensive, and that's why the farmer opts to just throw away the produce and sustain that a smaller risk than risking more, and the returns elsewhere are very little. Because if you source a cabbage at maybe 10 shillings from the farm, you incur the cost to transport it from here to Mombasa, and then that means we're going to sell this cabbage very expensively, and then maybe the market, the consumer intake, will not take that in. That's why the issue of connectivity in Kenya is very poor. That's why we see so much wastage. So how are we going to address such an issue?
Through the marketing of making sure that the buyer and seller are able to talk to each other, they're able to know each other, they're able to see each other, knowing who is where, knowing how close am I to you. This app, through my ideology, I felt like it's able to connect the farmer to a local buyer. Someone who's near them, not someone who's too far. You can't expect me to come from Western, I'm selling a cabbage, and I go sell it to someone in Mombasa, and there's someone in Western who needs the same cabbage to buy from me. So that means in the app, I can able to know who I can sell my products to, who is near, how much is the transport, can I be able to sell it to someone who's near me, is there someone? So the app connects you to someone who's near you, connects you to someone who's far from you, connects you to an ideal buyer, someone you can be able to, you are able to incur the costs from that person, from you to that person. So the app connects you to the buyer as someone who's near, someone you can afford the transport costs. Yes.
Okay, talking about local consumption brings about the issue of supply and demand. When the supply is too high, the demand is very low, because now everybody is owning a cabbage on his or her farm. So I cannot sell to my neighbor because he or she is tired of eating cabbage. And maybe the other person who is distant from me is in need of this cabbage, but now the cost of getting it there is very expensive. So how are you aware about such scenarios?
Yes, I am fully aware of such scenarios. And a farmer who is not able to send something to the buyer, I can't solve that.
Okay, you agree that you cannot solve such a problem?
Yeah.
Lastly, do you own the skills to develop this Mkulima app, or are you going to outsource somewhere, or are you going to train yourself?
In one of the questions that you asked, one of the 7 things that you mentioned, you talked about teamwork. And I think of ideas. I am not good in technology. I have never done any coding, but I think of ideas. So if teamwork is something that can be given, something that can be shared to someone, that's one of the things that I need. I can think of an idea, I can know what can be done in the app, I can tell you don't do this, but I don't know the coding, I don't know the technological resources that are needed. So yes, I don't have anything, but I have the idea. And if I get support, I can be able to make the app. Thank you.
That's a wonderful presentation. Thank you, the other panelists. So we move on to the next session, whereby we should at least have questions and input from the audience, so that our innovators can answer 1 or 2 questions that maybe the audience did not get clearly. So maybe we could take a few questions, if anybody is ready. Any question from the audience? So if there is no question,
Good evening. I'm Caroline. I have the following question. My first question goes to David. Yes, David Otieno. You talked about GIS, digital protection of the wetlands, right? Now my question is this idea of yours can be large scale or small scale?
Oh, thank you for that. I think I mentioned that when I was presenting. For the start, I said we can initiate this scale locally. Then from there, after implementing it and seeing its effectivity, we can take it global-wide.
Next question. Okay, GIS is broad. It's broad. Do you have any specific machines or tools that you have in that idea of yours? Because when you talk about GIS and remote sensing, it's like you are generalizing the whole idea. Because in GIS we have a lot, actually a lot. Now, like if it's going for imagery, photography, you didn't even specify the kind of tools and machines that you're going to use.
Majorly, it's on mapping.
Okay.
Okay. When you say a lot, like what do you mean? Do you mean machinery or the skills?
Machinery, actually.
What I need is a laptop and a satellite.
What about the software?
The ArcMap I can access, and there's this other one. Nimesahau jina, but I can access the ArcMap.
Next question.
Yes.
How is your idea community-based?
It is community-based because after mapping these areas, we'll definitely know where they are, and therefore we can reach to the community, then tell them on the ways or how to exploit these resources in the wetlands without extincting them. For example, the papyrus reed, we can tell them that they should not overexploit these resources so that they can maintain sustainability. So we'll definitely involve community.
Next panelist. I have a question for you. You talked about circular agriculture and majorly on the farm waste. Is your idea large scale or small scale? Because majorly you are talking about here in Egerton we have farm waste, like, so is your idea small scale or large scale?
Yeah, my idea is small scale, simply because you cannot be moving countrywide and you have forgotten the place where you are coming from. We should act, me as an innovator, I should act as a role model so that when at time I invite the others, they could see that at least this person is trying to emphasize on what he or she is doing. So it is small scale.
Exactly. What about the place where you are coming from? Or you are just innovating here in Egerton only?
Okay. In the place where I am coming from, I'm saying like I use the small scale, like I use Egerton University as an example, because most of the time we spend most of the time in school. Like we have 4 months here. I only go home maybe for 2 weeks. You see? Yeah. And it's good because if we can use this idea in our institution, it will be good for us so that when people come from outside to our institution, they can use us as an example, you see? Yeah.
True. Now, you've talked about your home, which is Egerton. Let me assume it's the reference.
Yes.
But now what I'm trying to mean, like, how is it community-based if you're only thinking about your home?
Okay. Community-based. My own suggestion was about Egerton University. And also, I can also use where I'm coming from, which is Western. So I used Egerton because I'm nearer it. And also, the community around us. So if we can use the community around us is like Egerton University students. So involving them in this method of agriculture, it will be easier for us, you see?
Exactly. But but you're not still getting my question. You know, like what I'm trying to mean is that when you come up with an idea of a farm waste management, that we're talking about, we are in Egerton, yes. But when you're thinking of an idea, it should be explained also to the outsiders, not only like you're waiting to implement and see it works. What if you try like people living in the, let me say, Njoro. Njoro is the immediate community, right? Now your idea is you're only looking about the waste that are produced here. What about the waste produced in Njoro? Still we are under one constituency. You see where I'm getting that to, I'm from Nyanza, yes. I want to take your idea to Nyanza. But now your idea is a small scale. So how will it help our whole village carrying 700 people in it? That's why I asked you if your idea is only based in Egerton, where is your home, or home away from home?
Okay. My mainly concern was Egerton.
It's okay. Next. Can't remember your name, but the third panelist. I have a question for you.
Yes.
You majorly talked about carbon sequestration, which majorly is all about the carbon sink. And you started with the terrestrial, right?
Yes.
Can you explain to it? Because I was a bit like, talking about terrestrial is the, no, okay, we mean the forest, right? Or the cover, I didn't get it right, so that's just want to know, so that I ask the question.
Okay, terrestrial was mainly based on the land, forest, and agriculture itself on land. The land environment.
So is it the terrestrial ecosystem in general, or like can you just define that idea as according, is it marine ecosystem, or are you talking the terrestrial ecosystem?
It is a terrestrial ecosystem, but I based on the agricultural part, not the forests.
So what was your main idea using the carbon sink?
My main idea was just to talk about those agricultural practices that promote this absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
What are some of the practices?
Those practices included cover cropping, planting deep-rooted crops, and what is it called? Composting. Yes, like enhancing the use of compost manures. You see, when plants rot, they absorb some CO2. So when you compost, you are reducing CO2 level in the atmosphere.
Now, is your idea large scale or small scale?
It is small scale. It's not really small, it's large scale, I can say. Because I practice it from where I come from, and it is practiced here. So my aim was just to boost it, like to improve. That was my aim.
Madam, but you mentioned about the coastal ecosystem. Now, how are the two related?
We scrapped it off. We scrapped the coastal ecosystem off.
But we are usually told to be smart. Can you be specific?
I specified before. Maybe if you've not been keen, it was specified before. That question was asked before, and I responded to it very well.
So we are still sticking on the terrestrial ecosystem.
The agricultural part, to be specific, not the forest. I didn't research on the forests.
So your main idea here, using the carbon sink, we know the forest and the oceans, are the largest carbon sink, right?
Yeah.
But you are dealing with cover crops and I don't know, something compost manure, something like that. So if that idea of yours, you are saying, so let's talk about the percentage of carbon that it can intake using carbon sink.
The main aim is to reduce CO2.
Exactly. Now you know what I'm trying to mean here, because I've already given you an example. Indian Ocean is the largest carbon sink in Kenya, followed by the five, like the Aberdares, the forest actually,
yes.
The Mau, those are the largest. They take a lot of percentage
yes.
of carbon. Now the idea you came up with must have a mathematical calculation on how it will take, and we'll see that this idea is going to be effective. Like how much carbon can it take?
I get your question.
Yeah, exactly.
Indian Ocean has been there before the so-called climate change, right?
Yeah.
So it being there is still climate change. So we are just trying to increase what is to absorb this CO2 from the atmosphere. Apart from that, we are just adding on top of those that you've stated. I don't say that your answer is wrong or something. Yes, oceans, forests are the major carbon cycling systems, right? But now, our aim is to just increase the absorption of CO2 through what I stated. Because I knew the oceans were there, the forests were there, but I didn't measure on them.
Like you're not getting my point.
You wanted the percentage?
Like if you
Excuse me. Let's have order, and at least give someone else a chance to ask a question so that we can spread out the views from the rest of the team.
The last one. Last question. You talked about creating a digital platform, the Wakulima app. So is it the connectivity, which is the interactions in between the farmers? Is the app going to be like personalized? Like, can I only be the person without interaction? Like, can I interact without interacting with other people? Alone, like what I'm trying to mean? You see, you're going to develop a software that provides farmers with interacting with each other. But my idea here, like, can it be personalized, like, without that interaction with other farmers?
If I'm understanding your question rightly, you want to interact with the others, but you still want to put one aside and talk to them alone. As I said, if the app will be created, there'll be updates. So there'll be things that will be changing from time to time, making it more user-friendly for each farmer. So if you want to talk to someone privately, if you want to talk to a specific farmer privately, that can be updated when time goes by. Yes.
Next question.
Okay, thank you so much. So basically, my question you'll have to respond it from a legal angle. So basically, it's on the last panelist. I've forgotten your name, I'm very sorry for that. So my question is on the question of data protection. It is something that has been posed by the moderator, but I feel like you did not adequately address it. Because when collecting this particular data, we have several principles. The GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations, it has a lot of principles. So you, in coming up with this particular app, the Mkulima app, which is supposed to collect the data. How are you going to maneuver through that particular challenge? And then another question, which is also from a legal angle, it is on the issue to do with IP, intellectual property. We have a similar app. I think it is the Farm Kenya app. Basically, it has agricultural news content, farmers, farming, of course, marketing and everything of that particular kind. And then you are coming also with a similar app that emulates the other one. So how are you going as now an innovator? Don't you think you'll be subjecting yourself to a lot of suits because it is something that already exists? Yeah, maybe if you can respond to those ones first.
To the first question about the data protection, as I said when I was asked first, the farmer is given a choice to accept or refuse the data being shared to the app. He or she is giving the access to the data. If they want us to see their number and their email, they accept it or refuse it. Have I answered?
Actually, you intellectually evaded the question. Yeah, okay, whatever you're trying to say, it's on consent. If you analyze the data protection, we talk of the data processors, the data subjects, now on the ones you're talking of, the farmers. Okay, we also have the accountability principle. So that is what I'm trying to inquire from you, the security safeguards that you'll have to put in place, because it is one of the principles that have been enunciated by the Data Protection Act, the 2019 Act.
When you are entering WhatsApp, you give them your number to send you the verification code. Do they ask you if you want to or if you don't want to?
I've not gotten you right.
When you are entering WhatsApp, let me not ask you a question, let me answer the question myself. When you are entering WhatsApp, you give them your number and they ask you, can you send the verification code to this number? They ask you. They get your data through your permission. The same way the app can act. We get your number, your email through your permission. Yes, through a legal angle, but we have asked you if you can. That means the accountability is there. We won't share your number to someone else because you've accepted. And even when you're using Google, they ask you a list of questions, but the terms and conditions, all that you accept and you just move, you don't read them. Of course, that's part of the data protection. If the app can have such a feature where when you enter, they give you, we will do this, we won't do this, we'll take your number, we'll be sending you SMSs, we'll be informing you about some updates, some local updates that are happening. If you accept that you want to receive this, that means you can be able to get your email and your number. Accountability, it will be written in that if the app will be able to have such a feature where you can get the data where the person is accepting, it will be written that we shall not share your number. The same way WhatsApp ensures what you're talking is end-to-end encrypted. Do you go and tell them, how sure am I it's end-to-end encrypted? You just believe it. Or do you go and ask them? That means it is there. If an app has such a feature, that means it has been legally accepted that we shall not check your messages. We shall not be entering into each thing that you're doing. You shall not be taking your number and sharing it to someone. So I guess I've answered the first question. The second one, I didn't get it quite correctly.
The second question was basically on issues to do with IP. To be specific, the question of patents and then copyright. But for yours being that it is an app, actually it combines both a patent, being that it's an invention and an innovation, and then also there is the issue to do with copyright, being that it is a software that already exists. Yeah, so I'm trying to, because you're coming up with an app. We have a similar app that is in existence. So how are you going to maneuver through that particular question? On the issue to do with intellectual property, protection of other people's ideas.
When you're playing Temple Run, when you want to download it, when you search Temple Run, if you want to search, you can search right now. How many Temple Runs will you see? How many? If you're searching for Snapchat, how many other filter kind of camera apps will you see? There's so many. It's not about the app will be different from another. We're trying to have one that is nearer, one that can be easily accessed. We're not trying to copy another app. We're trying to invent an app that is user-friendly. It cannot be different from the other one, which I'm hearing of probably now, or maybe I heard of it. But in every app, there is a similar kind of app. Temple Run, I've downloaded so many fake ones, and I've never gotten the correct Temple Run. I still play the wrong ones. Do they sue the other Temple Runs? They don't. They accept. You can't have a similar app to someone else. It can never be the same. You just update yours to be better than the other one.
Okay, perfect. You've responded perfectly. Are you familiar why the issue to do with GB WhatsApp, your WhatsApp, was stripped off?
Because they were allowing some things that were not well. How can I be able to see your status and I'm not being seeing your status? Those are features that do not account for everyone. It's something that is not right. That's why they were scraped off. If an app is acting correctly, it's continued. If an app is updating, it's becoming greater. They allow you to have innovation so that you can have something greater than the other one.
Okay, you are also evading the same thing. Leave alone the ethical consideration why the proxy WhatsApps were stripped off. What was the main reason? Because whatever you're trying to do, it is just give us the ethical part of it, that I'm able to delete the message and then you are able to see the message what I had maybe sent wrongly, which is unethical. It was part of the reasons. But the main thing was the issue to do with IP and copyright. Yeah. So that's why they were not permitted. Yeah, that's why they were removed throughout. And then on the first question, okay, maybe I'll correct you something, maybe we'll discuss later after the session. Yeah, my question was on data processing, not data collection. We have several principles that have been stated. So being that it is a pilot program, I'll give some legal advice on the same. Thank you.
Maybe we could have the last question.
To the last panelist, my first question is rhetorical. Have you tried to research if the system you are venturing into already exists? If yes, how is yours better? That was rhetorical. The second question, you say that your app mainly ventures on the small-scale farmers, right? Capturing the small-scale farmers, right? Mostly, the small-scale farmers don't have smartphones, which basically the app will need a smartphone to be active, right? Have you considered the ones that don't have smartphones?
That's a question.
Yeah.
So, after a lot of research, I noticed there are some things that you can access twice. For example, if you ever heard of the Ndovu Fund. Did anyone hear about Ndovu Fund? Users could apply online, or they could use the digits *264# whatever. So if you are a farmer from a rural area, you want to access something, you want to know what are the seasons, what is going on. If the app is made, you can make such a
I don't know what those things are called, those stuff, what? I can't hear, but yes. USSD codes. If such a code can be made, a farmer from a rural scale can star 247#, can access some data, can pick point 1, you're accessing the seasonal climate